Okay. So as the basic is like we will automate only regression, functional, and whichever is more repeatable, those things only we will automate. So from a functional set of test cases, we will pick the test cases and then we will select it for automation and then we'll do. So generally automation will do for repeated cases, either it's by data driven or it is by whatever is highly repeated. Those kind of scenarios we will pick and automate. Generally, we will create regression suite, smoke suite, sanity suite, sometimes maybe functional. So all these things we will create and then we will run. Smoke suite we will run a daily basis. Okay, regression is like whenever you have some changes, we will do it. I think like you should be aware of all this, right? This is basic stuff. How to put
Yeah.
test case for automation and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in for a functional tool, the approach actually this is like common to all the tools. What is the approaches? Okay, so for what is the approaches? Whenever we see any page based on whatever is displayed on the screen, we will identify, right? Say, for example, I have a Gmail, I will see something as username, or like I have password box. So by the text as password and the box, I understand I have to enter here the box, the password inside it. And then whenever I have a submit button, based on seeing the button, I know that this is the submit button and I want to know.
Yeah.
Similarly, how the tools will work is it will identify with respect to property and then with respect to its value. So the property is, for example, on a Chrome, say for example, I have my Google page. When I just go right click and inspect and I go to this location, it will show this is the properties. Um, if you just see copy element, okay, so this is the this is the set of properties which has been designed by the designed by the developer. Based on this, the tool is going to identify and it is going to perform any operation. Okay. So the basic thing is here, if you see, you have ID. So ID is one of the property, and type is URL and all this stuff. Based on all this, any automation tool will identify it and then it will perform an operation. Generally, what is the difference between a paid tool and an open source tool is on a paid tool, the minimum features, whatever you have, it will get converted into multiple properties and then values so that it will be very, very easy to identify. So that is the basic reason paid tool is more easy to identify, and then you will create a set of features. Say, for example, I have my ID and I have my name and maybe like type. Okay. So based on this three properties in a paid tool, in a test complete, it will be converted into 50 properties, and it helps easy to identify what is that. So whether it can easily identify and it can perform the operation. Other two things which we want to remember mainly is other than the property and the value. So property, how to say is, okay, apart from this ID, name, and then the type, during the development, they will use something as class. So class is the type. So based on the class, you will get some of the methods in which it will work. So class and method are the basic stuff which is going to help you to automate. Assuming my class is a text box, okay. So if my class is a text box, I can perform a method called as click, and I can perform a method called as set text or send keys. Okay. Say for example, if it is a button. Say for example, if it is a button, I'll be able to click, but I will not be able to set text, or I will not be able to send keys, because for a button it doesn't have an input value, so that I will not be able to pass the set text and the send keys method. So like button will have only the click. Similarly for other elements, something like drop down. Say for example, I have a drop down. I can click, or I can use a select, or I can use the set text. So how
Set
the
text.
method, yeah.
Set text for applicable for drop down.
Yeah, it depends on multiple type of drop downs. There are 3 to 4 types of drop down. Whenever a drop down is able to edit, you can give a set text.
Okay.
There are like 4 to 5 types of drop down. So two basic thing is, one is the class and the method. So depending on the class, your methods will be performed. Uh, uh, Methods are like what are the actions you are going to perform on the object. So and then how to identify is property and the value. So like any functional automation tool, the basic is object identification, and then uh, like performing an action on the identified object. So this is the basic for all the tools, assuming even for Selenium, instead of ID property and ID property name you can use, and also you can use something called as XPath. Based on that, it will perform and then it will work. XPath will work only for web application, not for desktop. So similarly, this properties ID name and type, depending on the developer, whatever the other properties they give, based on that, with respect to the values, it will identify and then it will perform. So first is object identification, and other thing is uh, what is the option, or like what is the action you are going on to making the object. So this two is basic concept for all the tools. Forget about either it's Selenium, Discomplete, UFT, Ronalds, whatever it is. First, you need to identify the object with respect to the property and the value. This property and the value is given by developer, and then you need to perform some methods. It is depending on the class and what are the methods will come with respect to the class. So this is the basic for any automation. Any questions on this?
No.
Okay. So okay. So coming back, so for a test complete is the paid tool. Whatever that we have is a paid tool. So I'll just open. Um, I checked it was opening, but now actually they have restricted a lot now. Because of that, we are not able to perform actually. Previously, it is like very easy to install the trial version and perform. Now they've made a lot of restrictions actually. Yesterday I just opened it. Okay, let me like restart my machine.
Okay.
I'll just restart and I'll just rejoin.
Sure.
Okay, so again to come back to the same stuff. So here in the tool we have something called as Object Spy. So using this object spy, we will read all the properties and the methods, properties and the values, and in the other tab, we'll be reading the methods what is specific to that object. So based on this, completely the automation tool is going to perform all the operation. Okay. So I'll show you the same google.com. Okay, so what I do is either I can use a drag and drop or I can use a point and fix. Basically, I'll use point and fix so that we will know where the red color is getting highlighted. So I have highlighted this, and if you see, we will be able to get so much of properties. So this is basic view in which I have only a limited properties, and if you click on view members, you will get more number of properties. Okay, this is the property and this is the value. Based on this, we are going to identify, and similar to the methods, whatever the methods that we are going to get, all this methods we will be able to perform on this object. Okay, so this is the methods, and here whatever you see is your object. This is your complete full name of your object. So full name in the sense this is related to your HTML tag. So system is the basic parent for all the object in the application in the system, and we have opened the Chrome browser under which we have the page, and then we have the panel, and then we have the search form, and all this have been created by the developer. Based on this, we are getting the hierarchy. This is a hierarchy of the object. So how to identify the hierarchy of object is whenever you go to object browser, you'll be able to get all the process whichever it is running on the system. So basically you can use the filters, whatever is required, assuming you want to check only for Chrome. I don't want any other process to be displayed here. You can just make it display so that it will be easy for you to understand. So you can have Chrome. So under this, if you have the page, if I just again use object spy and if I highlight, it will show what is the hierarchy of this page.
Okay.
Yeah. So and this button, when you click this 3, it will come to this object browser using hierarchy. Okay.
Oh.
After you select. Okay. This is called object browser. Other thing is this is to highlight. So I can highlight and see whether I have identified a right object or not. Okay. So this is the basic stuff. And here is something you can just copy it and then you can paste it somewhere. This is to copy. And same functionality is done by drag and drop. Say, for example, if I use a drag and drop also, it is going to give the same, nothing much difference. And if I click on the process, it's going to come here. And this is the structure of your HTML, or even in your desktop application, whatever the structure you have, you can see the properties and then its corresponding value, and then you have a method. So what is a method? Here you have two things. One is basic method, set of basics, and set of advanced, so that you will have more number of properties and more number of stuff. And here you can use a search and you can identify object type. Okay, this is the basic of object identification, and whatever the properties and the method is being used in this complete. Any questions actually?
No.
Okay. Okay. After object identification, right? Where is the Excel? Okay, so after this, so we have seen what is object identification, and then we have seen what are the methods and the class it is being performed. The next thing is object storage. Okay, this is like common to any of the tool. In Selenium, we don't store the properties and the value. So what is when the object storage is? I'll be storing the object properties and then the values in a place within the tool so that it will be able to perform the operation. So here storing the object is called a name mapping. Okay, so object identification can be done in multiple ways. Okay, one is the full name. Okay, other one is the descriptive programming. Uh, Simply to say find methods in test complete. Other thing is your name mapping or aliases. So in full name, we will not store any property. In find methods, you will not store any property. Only in name mapping and aliases, we are going to store the property in a place. So this will be stored. Okay. This will be on runtime. It will find during the runtime. This will also found on the runtime. Okay. So for one single object, okay, we can have the we can identify using a full name, we can identify using a descriptive programming, which is find methods, and we can identify using name mapping and aliases also. In whichever the way you identify, all are going to be the same. Some of the way of identification has some advantage, some of them have disadvantage. So we will see what is the difference between one and the other. So the first thing is full name. I will just go to a different application, different sample application, so that you will get it. Okay, so this is a basic WebOrders application just used for the trial stuff. So if I log in tester and test, so here we have the username and password, and if you log in, it is going to enter. Okay, so this is a basic application. So here, say for example, for the username, what I'll do basically is I'll come to object spy. Okay, I'll identify the username text box. Okay, I'll just open an IE. Chrome requires an extension. I've added the extension. Maybe the extension is performing. Borders. Okay. So if I identify the username, if you see here, I get something as full name. So this is one of the property using which you can identify the other one. Okay. Second thing is, instead of using this full name, we are going to use something called as name mapping. So name mapping, as I said, it is going to help you for storing the object. Okay. So before going to name mapping, we will see how to create the project and the project suite, so that we will be able to activate this button, which you can map the object from screen. So first is the project suite. So here in my project suite, I can give whatever the name I want. Okay, by default. So by default, it will give you a user location, and if you want to change your location, you can change anywhere inside the system wherever you want. And this is a scripting language. Either you require a scripting language, whatever the scripting language that you want, you can use it actually JavaScript, Python, VBScript, Delphi, and JScript. Okay. So I'm going to select VBScript. One thing to be more careful is, once you have selected to JavaScript or VBScript, you will not be able to change it in between. Okay. So you need to be very careful while you're changing here. Then if you want to do some DDD stuff, or say for example you have to do for some desktop application, you need to select this. Either if you select or you don't select, it is like not going to be a problem, because after that you will have an option to create. So this is to show us either if you have an application exe, you can mention the application exe here. So I will show you some sample exe file. So this is actually there are a lot of new changes in this recent release. So recently they have released 14.4 just before 1 week. So they've added all this actually. Usually, otherwise, like we will add it manually. So I can just give this and I'll finish for now. Okay, so here, if you see by default, you'll get the keyword test, the name mapping, the script, stores, and the tested application. All these things we will be creating. So it will get auto created. So this is the project suite name, and this is the project name. So under one single project suite, I can have n number of projects, and each project can have different scripting language also. It is not mandatory that only one project will have only one scripting language. Under this project suite, you can have multiple projects which will have multiple scripting languages. So you can create as far as whatever you want. Assuming you are going to run in one project in VB scripting, another project in JavaScript, you can do all that here. Okay.
Okay.
So any questions until now?
No.
Okay, that's fine. So coming back, I have a name mapping. This is like to store the properties, whatever the properties and the values we have. So this is name mapping and this is aliases. So name mapping is the actual format and aliases is a shortened format. Otherwise, both are going to be the same. Both are going to react on the same way. So how I add an object to name mapping is I'll just add this plus button, which is next to the spy, and I'm going to highlight on the application, right? And it will add based on the hierarchy. Each and every level of hierarchy it's going to add, and it is going to identify by itself whatever the properties that it can add. So here there are two options. I can give map the name or object automatically. So if I just make a click, it will create the name mapping property and it will give. So here, even the names are being decided by the test complete by itself. Maybe it's not quite readable. And the properties also, it's automatically defined by name mapping. So generally, it is advisable. We will do it manually. So we know what is the name that we want to give and we will change it. So here when I click on OK, I will choose my name manually. So if you see, the password box has come directly because all the remaining hierarchies will be mapped. So it is showing only this one, and you can add whatever the properties that you want depending on the requirement. One thing is adding the property should be more unique and it should not be dynamic, because if it's a dynamic property and if it is going to change every time, say for example on an Angular application, the ID properties will get changed frequently. So like whenever you add most of the ID properties, and if the properties are getting changed every time, then your execution will fail because the property is not unique. So while adding the property and the value, it needs to be unique. It should not be very dynamic, so that test execution will not fail. So it is our responsibility to create the right set of properties and values. So that is why we do it manually. When you click on OK, you just like get it here. And then other thing is when you make the login button, so you get the button properties. Okay, I'm just gonna give login. Click on OK, and if you want to add the properties, you can add. Okay, so now I have added the three values. One is password and the login, and here I can rename also. I'm just pressing F2, okay, so that I can rename. Okay, so this is name mapping. Okay, your browser, your login button, password, and the username. So this is your name mapping property which you are going to use. Other thing is similar to that is aliases. So aliases is just a shortened format of name mapping. So if I select here, I'm going to get this one. Okay. So as we saw for the username, so I will show you for username. So this is my name mapping property. Okay. I'll show. This is for my name mapping. Okay, it will come like this. Say for example, what is the advantage of aliases? Is aliases can have a shorter name. So if I, assuming I don't want this property in between to be displayed, I can just drag the username under the page. Okay, this is like just I'm going to select the right key and I'm dragging and I'm making it. So if you see, this in between form.aspx is missing for the username. So that is the advantage of aliases, so that it will be more readable name.
But in finding that object, we will face any issue because it missing of form ASP.NET form, right?
Yeah. Actually, what happens is if you just go right click and find the mapping objects, it will find this object. And if you see here, you will have form ASPX not that dot form, and it will be on the same hierarchy. Only thing is while you add and if you're skipping more number of properties in between, that time your performance may go quite slow, assuming you're adding some properties, but in between you are missing some property. So then the tool will take more time to identify, so that your performance may get low.
Okay.
Okay, so like that is the only reason. But here it will not have any performance issue because it is just to rename it so that it will looks readable. But if you see, the actual properties are coming from here. Okay, whatever you see here, when I right click go on the find mapping object, actually the ASP form is there. Only here on the view it is just going and hiding. Assuming aliasing is like a very simple term, right? You have a long name, but I can call you with a shorter name. So that is the basics of aliases. That's it. Nothing much. Remaining all are going to be the same.
Okay.
Okay, so one is name mapping and the other one is aliases. Okay, both are almost the same, but just to understand, this is the two things that which we are going to do. So before going to descriptive, I'll show you how we will write the code basically. So what we do is we go to object_spy and we will go to the page and we will highlight this and we will copy this username, right? This is the property for the username. So I'm just going to copy paste. Second thing is I'll go to the password box. I'm just going to make this copy paste, right? And for the button, okay, so this is the objects whichever we have added stored within the name mapping. So the object is stored, as I said, the object is identified and then the object is stored. Now we have to see what are the actions that they can perform and what are the methods it can come. So when you click on the dot, you will get all the methods and the properties which can be performed on this object depending on the class, which is more similar to when you highlight and you go here and when you click Control Shift A, there is a set of methods. This methods are the stuffs which is getting displayed when you keep a dot.
Okay.
Okay, nothing much. Same thing, whatever you have here or whatever the properties that you have here is going to come there. Okay, it depends on your object. So I keep a dot and then I give something as set text, right? So set text is I have to enter a value inside inside the box so that I'm giving something as set text. So here it is called string. So for string we have to give a value inside it. Okay.
Quotations. Yeah.
And for the next thing is set text because it's a password box and an Xbox. So I'm going to give something as test. And for button, if you look for set text, you will not have set text because the class is a button. So you will not be able to enter any text value. So you will not get it. Okay. So that method will not exist. So for login button, I have the only I'm going to perform a click.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is my method. So I have my click. Okay. So this is the way we are going to identify the object, we are going to store the object, and we are going to perform an operation on the object. So this is with respect to alias and name mapping. We have other methods. Similar to that, you can use the full name also. Okay, I'll show you full name. Say for example, for username, I'll use full name. So this is my full name. Okay, I can use any of the three. So I'll just copy paste. Okay, because it is actually full name, it is like very lengthy. This is from your HTML tag. Okay, or like whatever your developer has given on a simple way. So if you see, this is like very lengthy. Okay, both are same. Whatever this line number 5 and line number 2, both are same. This is a different way that you are getting a full name. Here it is being converted into this name. So, but like both are same. Okay. So this like double backslash. Okay, this VB script, right? Okay. This single apostrophe is your comment line. Comment line means this line will not work. Okay, but you can have it. So this is to comment and this is to uncomment. Okay, so if I want to comment this line, I can come to this line and I can comment it, or I can uncomment. Okay. So any questions until now?
No.
Okay. So function, I'll give us login and function, and I'm going to give an end function. Okay. So now when I right click and I run this routine, it is going to perform an operation. So it is going to identify the object, and then based on whatever is stored, and it's going to perform the operation, and it is going to enter the username and the password, and it's going to go through it. So here, if you see, you will get the picture, what is the actual picture it has come, and you will get the details, what is the actual details that you get. Okay, for each and every object, whatever you get it, based on that, you'll get. So if you see the picture, it is automatically captured. So it is entered. Now it is going to work on the password box, right? And for the next thing, you'll get the picture. It is going to click on this. Okay, picture and the detail. So this is the actual detail, what it is been happening in the background. So it is clicking on this point. This is the actual stuff. And for this one, it is showing something. This one is showing. So this is to just detailedly understand what is the stuff it has. So it has start time, run time, what is the total run time, and all this stuff. So this is basic stuff, how to create a small function, very simple function, and to do it. Okay. Let me remove this. Okay, so this is to identify an object and to create a smaller function. So any questions on this?
No.
Okay. I'll show you the other method, which is called the descriptive programming. So descriptive programming, in the sense, you will use the property and the value. You will not store the properties and the values, but like you will perform the operation. So what is meant by using that is, say for example, this same one I'll use sys.browser.page, right? Whatever the page web orders login dot find child. Okay, so there are multiple methods. We will see one by one method, but like I'll show you something as find child, in which I am going to give the property, and if you see the syntax, it is going to show the property name, property value, and then the depth. Based on this, it is like going to perform the operation. So I'll make lastly, to make the depth as 30. So here what I'll do is, I'll do it similar for the username, whatever we have done, because it's just an alternative method for your name mapping and full name. So if it is for username, so I will use the property IDSTR. Say for example, this is my property I'm going to use. So what I'll do is here, go to give my IDSTR, and here I'm going to copy paste the value. Actually, this is happening automatically on the name mapping. Here it's the same. So here I've given the depth, and depth is like how long is the hierarchy that you're going to do. So from the system.browser, whatever the hierarchy that you're using, based on that will give depth as 30, 10 or 20, depending on how deep your developer has designed the property. So here what we will do is, so this object must need to be set. So I'm going to use something called as set my username equal to, so it will come. Then this is my name. So here I'm going to whatever the name that I have defined. Dot will get the set text. Okay, and I'm going to give us tester. Just making it function. So if I'm going to run this, it is going to store already until the web page, but here it is going to identify during the runtime. Based on the runtime, it's going to perform the operation. If you see, I have just written only for the username, so that it has identified using the username, and it has like performed the operation. Okay. So this is basically the descriptive stuff. Any question on this?
Find child, why? We can use find, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. Either it's find or find child or find all children. Everything has a different use. So like I can use find or I can use find child. So what is the difference between find and find child is, say for example, you are using from the system. So here, what is the difference between find and find child is, I will show you. It is just going to happen on the background. Let me select. Okay. Say for example, on the browser, I am going to use find. It will include the browser also, and then it will search in all the below child elements. If I use find child on the browser, this browser element will be ignored, and it will be identifying from the below elements. That is the difference. Either you can use find or you can use find child. Both are going to be the same. Find child means the number of objects minus. Okay, find means the total number of objects. Find child means a total number of objects minus one, avoiding the parent object. That is the only difference. So that basically we will not identify the object and we will not find the same object. That is why we use find child. So even if when you run this, it is going to perform the same operation. Nothing much, nothing. It will not change any of the performance. Okay. So this is the basics, just to have a clear view how it happens, what it will happen and all, because generally people do trainings by explaining basics for a long time. So I just do in a workaholic method, so that like whatever you want to do, you need to know what to do, so that you can try and you can do it. So any questions until now?
No.
Okay. Okay, let us take a 5 to 10 minutes break, and then maybe we'll continue. Okay, because we'll continue until 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock or 7:30. How long you're free today? Or like if it's a day one and you don't want more number of topics to be covered, we can cover tomorrow also. Is it like fine or it's too much?
Not an issue. If you want, I can split like a morning 1 hour, evening 1 hour. Is it possible?
No, evening 1 hour cannot be possible. We can spend both times. No, that is fine. Timing we can extend because it's day one. If you are feeling it very more, anyhow, the total number of hours we can manage. It is not the number of days. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
because like on day one, if you are going to cover more, I don't want you to feel something we are going very fast, right? Anyhow, like all these topics we will recover because it's going to repeatedly happen. This whatever we covered today. That is why I just went to show you that something is happening. Otherwise, just explaining all the basics only, you will get bored. You will not uh, see anything interesting other than the theory. So
Okay, okay.
if you just like want to continue from tomorrow, we can do that also, not a problem. If you feel this is okay for today,
Okay.
you try it. Okay, you try like whatever we saw today, the basics, and you can search for a web order application, and then you can try automating it, whatever I have done and whatever I have shown. Maybe like based on this, maybe tomorrow you will have more number of questions, and then remaining I have record and playback, I have keyword test, I have a lot of other things, basic topics also to be covered. So I will tell you all about that. But like I think like it's like enough for today because it should not be overloading for you.
Yeah.
You should be able to do. One thing is I can share you this code also. How to share you this code? You have some um, generally like I have a habit of maintaining everything in Excel so that whatever the topics is covered, not covered, we'll just maintain it. I think like you know this one, right? Or you want this code on email?
Oh no, I know.
Okay, okay. In that case, it's fine. Okay, you try this today. Tomorrow we'll meet at the same time, and then we'll continue.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, 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 Ishwar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.